everybody. Welcome to Late Night Spooky Talk. I'm Tracy. This is not Lisa. Lisa is away on a very super fun vacation. You are looking at Earl Lattie, and he is our special guest tonight. And he is coming all the way from Churro, Nova Scotia. And he is going to chat with us tonight about Haunted Nova Scotia, Paranormal Investigations Nova Scotia, and talk about some spooky ghost stories, some Nova Scotia history. We have some fun and exciting clips, and even some cool pictures to show you. So I'm just going to do a quick hello because we don't want to keep Earl way too long. But I wanted to say hi to Vincent White, CM, Hey Ginger. Let me see, Tommy Mayer's here, Jacob. Oh, RTN and Vicky Array. And I'm pretty sure I saw Vicky Alcorn here too. WWM was here earlier. He's probably still here. Night Fright Talk Show. Kevin, Poetic Justice. Oh, everybody's here. Oh, Orange. Hey, Orange. It's good to see ya. Oh, lots of great people. And I'll apologize in advance. Chris W., Connie, If in Blue, Richard Speaker. If we happen to miss anybody as you're coming in, I apologize. The chat does move super fast. But don't worry because everybody in the Late Horror Show family will greet you with open arms. Oh, No Use for a Name is here as well, and Telstar and Red Ants. So I'm going to just get started, and I'm going to let Earl introduce himself. Just to let you know, too, there's a little bit of a delay with the internet connection. So just be aware. So I'm just going to let him talk. So if there's a little bit of a delay as he's introducing himself, don't worry, it'll be fine. So, Earl, how are you? You want to tell us a bit about yourself?
I'm not doing. You doing?
Good. So, do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about Haunted Nova Scotia and Paranormal Investigations Nova Scotia?
Sure. And yeah, just let me know if there's too much of a delay, and we'll work around that somehow. The lead investigations Nova Scotia, Haunted Nova Scotia has always main contact point on social and stuff like that. We've got 1,000 members right now, and that everybody can share their ghosts about folklore, folklore primarily, but from all over the world that like to experience and things, they've stories from where they're from.
Oh wow. Okay. That's awesome. And so I'll just fill in a little bit too. Earl's group, Paranormal Investigations Nova Scotia, that is the paranormal group that I belong to as well. And we do many investigations. Earl is great for doing residentials. There's been a lot of great investigations at like the Fortress of Louisburg and even local investigations. We do have a couple of, let me see here. We could pop right into a clip if you like. We've got some EVPs. Let me see here. Maybe Earl could maybe chat with us a bit about the investigation at Veep House in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, before we play the clip that we have, the Class A EVP.
Sure. Yeah. I think my audio badly, so I'll do the best that I can. Ethos we investigated, and there's two spirits there, and one on the main floor. I believe is that we went to investigate, and the one is I'm gonna see here. Yeah,
Okay.
I think my audio bad.
Yeah, I'll pop in here to you guys. Hey, what's going on? Anyways, yeah, Earl, I am so sorry, man. We were looking forward to definitely hearing from you, but it's impossible. The audio just keeps cutting in and out, and just can't make a sentence out. So, maybe down the road
Okay.
we can have you back on at another time. But it's yeah. I appreciate you coming on though with Tracy.
Thank you. We're going to play those couple of EVPs if that's okay, and I'll try to fill in as much as I can. But
Yeah.
if you wanted to even if you wanted to stick around for a little bit and maybe the people in the chat will have some questions because I know there's probably some haunted Nova Scotia people too that they might be asking questions. That would be great too. But that is totally up to you. And I'm so sorry about your audio.
Yeah, if we can't stick around, if we want to rebook this, and we can go from there and do a test. It sounds better than it does. Uh,
I would definitely love that. I would love to that do that, and I'll chat with Dino, and we'll definitely be in touch. And I'll see you tomorrow night for our investigation at the museum tomorrow night as well. But
yeah,
once that's okay. Once this wraps up, I'll send you a message.
okay, perfect.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you,
take care,
Earl.
Earl. You have a good
Okay.
night.
You-
Okay, Tracy, here
Hey,
we go.
Dino.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that that's happening. It happens. It happens. Sometimes people's audio just doesn't work. It was a mix of his internet connection and just not having the right maybe ear buds and gear to do the interview. But I think we can still go on and talk about some clips and stuff you have, right? Is that still
Oh,
good?
absolutely.
Okay.
And we can definitely make sure that we have him back because, like I said, he's quite Earl. He is so full of knowledge, just on what we have here in the province and the stories that he has. He's been doing this for so many years,
Yeah.
and he has some great stories. And even from where the place where he grew up, there's all kinds of like really super crazy stories
Well,
that
that's
never.
why it would have been, yeah, that's why it would have been great to have him on.
Yeah.
But you are also a part of the group.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
you're representing Haunted Nova Scotia. And I guess the tables are going to flip a little bit. We could do a back and forth here on the paranormal. But listen, people, we're
Yes,
still going to. Hopefully we'll have him back on again with better
yes,
audio and stuff like that to talk about the group and invest. You're having an investigation tomorrow, so
yes, we are.
hopefully when he comes on, you guys will be able to maybe talk about that too and stuff. And there were other clips that some language that usually gets bleeped over. You didn't send me, and
Right.
I could have used it. So next time
Absolutely.
we'll get that in there too, right? So
No,
we will
lots of
definitely.
great, yeah, lots of great footage, both audio and visual footage. And, Earl and I can always work together too and grab a number of different clips for next time because
Yeah.
you all would be floored with the evidence that's been collected over the years. The paranormal team, oh my gosh, everybody is so wonderful. I mean, there's Earl, of course, and then there's Warren and Rhonda. There is Mary and Laura. They're also team members, and Darcy. He's an awesome team member. He's kind of like how Captain Picard has number one in Riker. Well, Darcy is Earl's number one, and the team is made up. There's even a couple of members in Cape Breton. Um, So they're spread it out across the province. So it's a great team, and
Well, is
there's
anybody allowed to join the Facebook group that is linked underneath in the description?
absolutely. And I know Earl was mentioning that there's now, I believe, 18,000 members to the Haunted Nova Scotia Facebook group. There are stories that are shared there often. There's some memes, there's people that are always reaching out for advice. And if you kind of go back into the history, you can see some of our investigations, and there are files and videos, and you know you guys would absolutely love it. So definitely give it a join, have a look, and yeah, definitely. I'm sorry, I'm trying to also keep up with the chat here.
Oh
So
yeah, no.
the mummy and the monkey is here. Oh, this is great to see you guys.
Well, she says our is that James or Janet? Our cat Earl is watching with us. Yes, their famous cat Earl.
Oh,
But you guys will still definitely get some spooky talk here tonight for sure. Because between me
mhm.
and Tracy, I'm sure we've got plenty to talk about. I've dealt with quite a bit in the past, and heck, all the investigations you were on quite a bit of them too. So when we show the 5 clips, I'm sure you'll be able to discuss like what was going on during that time and all that too. So
Yeah, I
um,
can definitely talk about some of it. There was the one that we were going to start to talk about, the Veith house. That was a bit before my time with the group.
okay,
Um, and there's a lot of background to that. I believe Earl was saying that there were two spirits within that building that they had communication from.
is that with
Um,
the first clip?
it is that is the first clip,
You want me to play
and
it then, or
yeah, if you wanted to play it, that would be great.
okay,
I can talk about it first.
okay,
This was recorded at the Veep House, and it's a Class A EVP, and it clearly says
good
to
one.
Darcy, who is one of the other investigators, um, at the very end of the clip, and it's only 11 seconds long. It clearly says "Get out." So yeah, if you wanted to play that.
Okay, here we go.
You right now.
So hopefully you guys were able to hear that. Right at the very end, it actually says "Get out," and
Okay, let's play that one more time here, real quick.
You right now.
Okay, that time I was able to hear it. Okay, you can. Hopefully, you guys had your volume up enough that you could hear it. It clearly says "get out" at the very end, so I did hear it. On the second one, on the first one, I didn't hear it, but then on the second one, I said, "Wait a second, we got to hear this again."
absolutely.
I did hear "get out." So, and there's a you got a couple other very loud and clear ones even than that one. So, yeah,
No, exactly. And I wish I knew a little bit more history about that particular place. But that would be something that Earl will be able to talk about the next time that he joins us.
right,
Um, it's like I said, the history alone is in Nova Scotia, and I'm sure everywhere, just the deep history in this province is amazing for what we've got going on here.
yes,
Um,
spooky Nova Scotia, haunted Nova Scotia. Yeah.
Haunted Nova Scotia.
It's-
Tracy, is your group like TV ones where someone has a camera, someone is the medium, and everyone has a specific focus? Um, we do not use mediums per se. That's kind of a little bit of a one of those little touchy topics. I've
ah,
I've I've never investigated with a medium. I do believe some of the other group members have, but I have not. So I can't really speak to that. But Earl and Darcy, they basically run cameras and audio. But each of us, we do have our kind of our own gear. We all carry. Let me see. This is an SB7 spirit box. I'm not going
Well,
to
you're
turn
in
it on.
Canada, so that's what does that translate in America? No, I'm just joking. That's the spirit
This is
box.
the Canadian version. No, I'm kidding.
So that's the spirit box. That's the one where it gives you white noise and you'll hear sounds and you can ask it questions and a lot of times you'll get an answer.
Yes, that's it. So it runs forward and backward. It has AM and FM frequencies. Um, and a lot of the time it's from just kind of like what I've done. It's usually played in reverse on an FM frequency. That seems to
Yeah.
be the best one.
Yeah.
Amityville may have been a hoax.
Well, I had to put up there so I can laugh. Tommy Meyer says Amityville may have been a hoax. Really, Tommy? Really? Anyways, the house itself looked spooky, but anyways, I mean, and there were murders, but hey, whatever.
Well,
Yeah, we won't get what
no,
that.
believe it or not, my house, the shape of my house
Yeah.
actually looks like the Amityville house.
Okay,
It
very
does.
cool. Yeah.
From a distance, it does. And I never really noticed that, but
Hello, Boy Wonder. Happy to see everyone love this channel.
yay!
So, I'm so glad you love this channel, and it's good to have you here. That's for sure. Horror Junkie for Life is here. What's
Aw,
going on?
hey, Horror
But
Junkie.
yeah, that spirit box, it's kind of an up and down kind of thing in the paranormal field. A lot of people swear by it, and a lot of people just go, "Man, this is a bunch of rubbish." But you have personal experience with it. I mean, what are your thoughts on the spirit box and how it works? Have you gotten something back from it that you're like, that it really pertained to the investigation, and you're like going,
Yeah.
there's no way that this isn't something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let us
So
know.
there has been a lot. And quite honestly, like a lot of the times, Earl and Warren, or Warren is another awesome group member, they pilfer through all of the audio evidence and all of the video evidence. And it's painstaking. And I'm sure you know yourself from just like video and audio editing, that stuff takes a lot of time.
Yes.
So they go through it, and sometimes it's like frame by frame, and there's stuff when you're hearing like all the SB7 noises, you don't always pick up the words that are coming through, and you
Right.
just associate it with like interference or just gibberish. But when it's actually slowed down, you actually hear real words, real sentences.
Mhm.
um, there's been evidence that I've seen and heard that pertains to people that say one of the museums or the fortress that we've been in, there have been like record of those names, and other people have actually heard those names before as well. So it is relevant, and sometimes you can hear the same name or the same kind of like sentences like we were talking about last week, like those echoes,
Mhm.
from the past, like the
Yeah.
same things over and over again. And it's not uncommon, but there have been there have been a lot. I mean, I'll use an example. Even if you wanted to show the picture of Catherine's grave for a second, because
Before we do, real quick, I don't want to interrupt you,
oh, it's
Tracy.
okay.
Oh yeah, you. Well, Horror Junkie for Life just gifted 5 memberships to the Late Late Horror Show family. So I did just want to
Oh,
say thank you, Horror Junkie for Life. She gifted Sean Wilson, has a level 2 membership to the channel. Mark M, you have a level 2 membership. Alex the Large, uh, fu donut son, whatever. I haven't seen you in a long time, but you were gifted one, and so has Greg Ropp. I think was gifted a
nice.
membership. Thank you very much, Horror Junkie for Life. I appreciate it very much. Everything that all of you guys do are just fantastic and great. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And hello, Derby Girl. Hello, everybody else that's just joining in. Good to see everybody. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Tracy,
No,
but
no,
before
no.
it got way up there, I wanted to get it out before I forgot, and I don't want
Oh,
to
gosh.
forget. So,
No, that was, like, super kind,
oh
and
yeah,
I noticed that, Vincent White also did a super sticker before
yes,
we started the stream too, so that was
yep.
very
Thank you,
kind.
Vincent, as
Awesome.
always. So which picture is this that you wanted me to show? The first one,
Yeah,
the
if you
fort?
wanted to show, Catherine's grave.
Oh, Catherine's grave is, I think, the last. Okay, here's Catherine's grave.
So, I'll just we chatted a little bit about this one, I believe, last week. We just barely touched on it. But this one here, Catherine's Grave, it's actually here in Pictou County where I'm located. And we did visit this grave and we did an investigation. So it's a little girl. I believe she was like maybe it says 8 years old. She wasn't very old. And this grave is located in the middle of the woods. There's no cell phone reception. There's no interference.
Hmm.
And there were a lot of EVPs that came through when we did the investigation that evening. Um,
Were they
while
all? Were they like? What was the voice? Like, was it a little girl that was speaking?
No, it wasn't, which is the really strange thing. We kind of
Okay.
expected that it would be the voice of a little girl, but it wasn't. It was, I perceived it to be evil, I guess, and
Oh.
scary, evil and scary.
Well,
And this,
it says on the gravestone, "Suffer little children and forbid them not to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of heaven."
mhm.
Uh, Very nice. But you say you were getting some pretty dark readings,
It,
or
yeah,
okay,
the
huh?
EVPs, they were pretty scary. And we know that it wasn't like interference from like power lines because there were no power lines, no internet, like no cell phone service or anything like that.
Well, what was
And
it saying? Like,
it
what kind of things did you get?
so it was like deep growls
Okay.
and
Oh,
uh,
always demonic, or yes.
it was there was video footage, and I really wish I would have been able to grab that and share
Hmm.
it with you tonight, but another time for sure.
Okay.
um, it was it was the group of us, and Earl was asking kind of like questions about, the little girl's grave and who was here. And he had asked the presence to give him a sign that there was something there. And he kind of turned his back or just turned to the side a little bit. And if you had noticed on the gravestone, there were little toys surrounding it. Well, there
Yes.
was a little toy that was sitting kind of like on the top. And you can see it in that picture, that little kind of like
Tiny.
green scooter thing
Okay.
that flew off the gravestone like within just a couple of seconds of Earl saying, "Show me a sign that you're here." There was no wind, there was no like ground vibrations or anything to knock it off, and
Hmm.
and that thing had been sitting there for who knows how long,
And that's
right?
when you got the growl.
There was the growl. Earl had asked for a sign, and that thing just kind of like flicked right off the headstone.
Okay.
It was kind of like it was a weird circumstance. And towards the end, so like towards the end of this video, Laura, who's another investigator, and I were just kind of like off to the side, and we both hear something at the exact same time, not
Uh-huh.
far from where we're located. And you can see in the video that we turn at the same time and we're looking in the exact same direction. And that's just after all of that stuff had happened.
Okay.
So, I didn't get the warm and fuzzies from being down on site there.
What
But
took you? What took? Here, I got a question, and then Chris has got a question. Really quick, Vincent White did ask earlier. He said he was trying to figure out how to do the gifting of the memberships. Vincent White, if you hit that super chat down at the bottom there, if you hit it, they give you options for super sticker, or you know what? I guess it depends what device you're on, huh? Is that it, Tracy?
It does. You cannot do that on a cell phone. You have to
Okay,
do it on a tablet, a laptop, or a desktop computer, and
gotcha.
that's the only way that you can access that particular feature.
Okay, I'm asking you because I know you I remember you talking about that. So you can, if you hit that super chat thing down there, if you're able to and you're on the right device, it'll say gift. You can gift memberships too. So that's what it would. You would have to get on a different device, I guess. But I did want to say, ask you really quick about what brought you to that particular location of all places.
Oh gosh, poor junkie. Did you just do that again?
Did she do it again? Horror junkie, stop it! Stop it! Oh my God! Thank you very much, though. Horror Junkie for Life just gifted 5 more memberships. That's a total of 10 tonight, and
Oh,
they're level 2 memberships to the Late Late Horror Show channel. Bob Colton was gifted Paranormal Elements. Leonard S. Michael Stilson and Daniel Taylor. Hopefully, they take advantage of the membership gifting. Again, always check out the perks in the community tab for the channel because every Friday night we have movie nights. We all get together and have a good old time, have fun, and talk before the movie and everything else. So thank you, Horror Junkie for Life. Really do appreciate that.
so
But
kind.
yeah, thank you so much. Anyways, if I'm going to be working 3 jobs, I should spread my blessing around. Well, I just hope that the people that are getting the memberships are ones that like to get involved. Not saying make it a super chat to the late late, support us that way. But it's good to give some memberships out every now and then. So, Horror Junkie, love you, love you. You've been here for a long time. You're part of the family, and everything you do, is just great. So, thanks for the support. Don't work too hard. 3 jobs. I know you got to do what you got to do in life, but take some time for yourself and everything too. So, if you're able to, I think that's what this is all about, right? You get away from things. But anyways, getting back to that question, and then we'll get to Chris W's here. What brought you actually to that particular spot? Probably
So
legend.
legend, absolutely. So whether it is, a true story, an urban legend, it's so a lot of people, the story goes that you have to, oh, excuse me, you go to this child's grave and you need to leave a toy or a gift or something to make Catherine happy so she doesn't follow you home. And there have been reports of cars have little girl handprints, like whether it's dirt or moisture on on the back of the car as they leave. Um,
Have you
so
have,
that's
have you ever did you see that or?
I have not. Now, in the Haunted Nova Scotia Facebook page, there I do recall reading about locals who have had that experience and they've had like the little handprints, the little dirty or the little wet handprints on their vehicles as they drove away. And everybody does bring gifts, whether it's like one of those little toys that you saw or, flowers, just a token of appreciation, something that she has to play with, something that she can love so she doesn't follow you home. But I personally don't believe that the spirit of Catherine is
Was there?
malicious. Um,
No. Do you
it
think she's there? Can you, not that she's there. I think we've gone over this kind of many, many times. There's many different forms of, oh boy, we went, of all shows, we went in depth thoroughly on the one that the stream that we did where it's just titled "Let's Chat" because I didn't know any titles, and it's just my picture there about a week ago. And but there's many different forms of spirits, entities. There's remnants of, like I said, we talked about the soul, the pure.
Mhm.
whatever. We got into it very deeply, and the spirit, which is a part of that soul, and it gets, and even from there, you get these little bits of like echoes in time and
That's right.
things like that. So not that she's there, but is there some sort of energy of her there? I don't think anybody's really picked any little girls up there. Maybe
I don't believe
EVP wise or
our
anything.
I don't think our group has picked up any little girl EVPs or anything like that. But what I can tell you from doing some research um, on the true history of the Catherine's grave, um, she had become ill and passed away. And I want to say that it was her mother who was also unwell, wasn't able to go very far. So they had the daughter buried on the property. So that's kind of, and back in the 1800s, there was just all kinds of illnesses. So it was
Oh
like
yeah,
a natural. There are
so
speculations
sad.
that she was like eaten by a bear or something like that. But from the documentation that I could find, that it wasn't a tragic. It was tragic, but it was not in that manner. It was just an
Yeah.
illness, and she died from a childhood illness. So
Yeah,
like,
it's amazing how many stories like that end up becoming this like wild, ghostly historic event that took place. And when you dig a little bit deeper, through historical records and stuff like that, you find out that it just purely was a girl just got sick or a child got sick or something like that. And that's why it's good to have a lot of these paranormal investigating teams out there doing this kind of research to lend credence to the afterlife, to not even just the afterlife, but to what's going on right now, like even picking up voices and stuff. Are there spirits lingering around on earth? That's always been a big thing. It's like, even when I was younger, I'm like, if I could be a spirit and stick around for a while and tiptoe around everywhere and check out the greatest places I ever could, uh, I mean, why wouldn't I do that? If I was able to, who wouldn't?
well, and that's it
you
too.
know
And Ginger's made a really good point. She says, so will she be there forever? Is there no sending her on to the next place? Um, just
I don't think there's enough energy or evidence that shows that she's there permanently, right, Tracy?
That's kind of like my feeling, and just kind of the way that I believe and I think too is it, her soul, I guess, her spirit has already moved on to the place where she's meant to be, um,
But
where she feels safe.
yes, but it doesn't mean that there's not a piece of her energy wise still
That's
sticking
right.
around, causing some sort of like if somebody picks up an EVP or something like that, whether it's intelligent or not, uh, doesn't mean that there's not a piece of her still there, because energy is energy. We did go in depth about this. We
That's
can do
right.
this another time again, but yeah, it doesn't mean that, but most move on, but leave a little bit of something behind. Let me just say it simply like that, right?
That's
So
exactly it. It is. It's that little bit of just like that energy left over. Like I always, it's like a snapshot in time, right? And
exactly, yeah,
that's just how I feel. I mean, I know that Catherine is in a better place,
yeah.
and it's just a little bit of like her shadow memory that's still here. So
Not
yeah.
to say that there aren't some spirits who end up stuck here and don't know how to get to the other side or wherever it is we go afterwards. There's
Mhm.
plenty of like evidence that that happens too. Um, but that's a different story. It's you would need somebody to help push that person to the other side, let them know that, hey, you're sticking around somewhere you don't need to be. It's okay to move on. Uh, go somewhere, go to the light, whatever is what they always say. Whether the light is whatever it is, energy, a tunnel, an actual portal, whatever it is
Right.
that opens up for that person to get to the other side, that's what you need somebody there to push. And yeah, I am so sorry. I'm missing a whole mess of people, and we didn't even get to any more videos yet. Let's hit Chris W here that I got up still. Does your group ever see spirits in addition to EVPs or orbs? Anything on camera spirit wise or anything like that, or you guys see it? I don't know. Oh, whoa, what was that? You know.
Yes. So, and again, we do have a really, Warren and I, when we did an investigation at the Churro Museum, we did catch an amazing orb. So orbs are another one of those things that are,
Very touchy.
very touchy.
Yeah.
But it is clear that there is a light source that is going in to the spirit box as we are conducting an investigation. So the spirit box is sitting on the chair. Warren and I, along with a couple of other people in the group, are doing, our questioning and just kind of getting a really good sense. We have other equipment there, kind of like we've got these things running.
Uh-oh, there goes your equipment. The EMF detector,
The EMF detector is it's lighting up.
electromagnetic field. Yes.
And just kind of like those things going. But Warren captured a light source going into this mechanism. It's used for
Visually or
communications
on camera or both?
on camera. So
Okay.
we couldn't see it with the naked eye, but when
Okay.
he slowed down the video and was doing his editing, he clearly saw the light source come into this as he is asking a question. And as the response is coming out of this, you see the light source exiting. And it's very, very clear. It's in a basement of the museum. It's believed to be an orb. So
Did he check that instrument or recordings at the time that it went into it went into the spirit box. So the spirit box technically doesn't record, or does it? Do you have one that records what it?
the spirit box does not record. It's
Okay.
it's just a sound source.
Okay.
We have kind of
Hmm.
like just an audio recorder, so just a regular audio recorder.
Right.
It that
Okay.
does the audio, but also the camera. The camera itself also picks up the audio piece. So it's a whole just kind of kit and caboodle of different equipment that is used. But with his editing, clearly saw it, and I should have actually included that, but I didn't know if you'd be able to see it on the stream. But next time, for sure. I think that would
Vincent,
be an awesome clip to show people.
yeah. Vincent says, I'm so glad we have a resident expert in Tracy. Hey, what am I? Chopped liver? Listen, I've dealt with the paranormal my entire life. I do a paranormal show. No, I'm joking, Vincent White. That's all right.
Well, that's very kind. Definitely not an expert. I don't even know if there are any experts in kind of the paranormal field. I mean, I've always been interested in the paranormal. But
Well,
I didn't join this team until 2016 after I met Earl's group at the Fortress of Lewisburg, and it was just kind of like after a little bit of back and forth, did I join the team. So the investigation piece is pretty new to me, but every time we go out, it's a learning experience. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and the longer you do paranormal investigations or even dive into, I mean, heck, you can do many different things to learn about the paranormal, whether it be ghostly, ufology, or anything like that. That's
Mhm.
encompasses that whole universe. Reading books, doing research on your own. Heck, you can go to the UFO. Is it the National UFO Reporting Center? There are literally not that 80% I heard is just can be just dismissed,
Mhm.
but there are those cases that are dug deep way, and we'll be talking about this with Tom, who's coming up on Paranormal into the Night in a couple weeks.
Yes, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know how many are given to this National UFO
Mhm.
Reporting Agency every single day, but anyways, there are many ways of doing it, and hands-on is probably the best way to convince yourself, because if you experience something, hey, I seen it, my own eyes, my own ears, so uh, that's the best way to kind of believe. I don't know.
It is. Well, I mean, I think too, you have to be a healthy skeptic as well. You can't go in kind of like with rose-colored glasses on saying, I believe in everything. And, every little sound or movement or shuffle that you hear, yeah, it's a ghost or it's a spirit or whatever. That's, you have to be a skeptic. You have to kind of like throw out all of the, well, it can't be this because, that's, there's so much, right? So I think that you're a healthy skeptic. It works.
Well,
It
you
works
have to be.
better.
I mean, if you're just going, oh my God, did you see that? I believe. Oh my God, look at. I mean, that doesn't lead you know any. It's just, anyways, whatever.
Yeah,
You have some more clips, right? Did you
I
want to hit
do.
it?
I think I'm just gonna say happy birthday to Tommy Meyer. Poor
Oh,
Junkie says it's his birthday. So happy birthday. Hope you're having a great day.
I'm
Yeah.
having a coughing fit.
I know. Make sure you drink your water. Do you have your water?
Oh no, I don't have water. I don't have water or Ovaltine or nothing. Blob City is here too. He says, "Hi, friendos. What's going on?" Blob City. That avatar or whatever it is cracks me up every time, with the big '70s kind of hair and
Yeah.
big old mustache. And
And
oh boy,
Overkill is here too. Overkill is here. Overkill
yep,
and
Overkill. I think I said hi to them.
and Mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And somebody mentioned the Hat Man earlier too, and we'll get to another clip. But we've got to get to the other good EV clip that you have gotten. But the Hat Man is an entity or spirit that is known to bring along with him
Mhm.
other spirits, not the good spirits, the evil spirits, ones you would call shadow people. The Hat Man, so to speak, which I saw almost 20 years before I even heard the name Hat Man.
Mhm.
As I've spoken before, Tracy, and we'll get to that. We've got some time. I've spoken about this before. My grandparents have always taken, throughout their entire life, hauntings. No matter what house we went to, it was haunted. There were things. There were ghosts going in and out of doorways. Residual, same time every night. There were shadows that were literally up on the wall. Every single one of my aunts and uncles, and there were 13 of them.
Mhm. Oh wow. Oh,
Man,
hello, Scotia Dragoon.
yeah, there were. Yeah, I should have brought water.
You should have brought water.
So there was a house that we lived in that was the spookiest house that they've ever lived in, and I was a child during that time, and this is where a lot of my paranormal experiences came from. And just speaking of the Hat Man, which is just one of a whole mess of things that happened, especially that night, Tracy. It was so, as a kid, I was freaked out.
Yes.
Nobody would kind of support me as a kid. All the adults were just running around. But me and my uncle, who was the same age as me, we were about 10 years old at the time, so old enough to know better. There were a lot of shadows being seen in the backyard, a lot of them. And we were just freaking out. Earlier, before that, by a couple hours, the family was having a party. And I heard outside of the window where everybody was sitting, me and my uncle could hear people out there talking. And there was nobody out there. But we heard a conversation going on between 2 or 3 people. And that freaked us out. We were scared. We're like, what is this? And we were trying to get the attention of the adults, what you hear, but they were going on and on and on. But soon after that, is when we ended up seeing in the backyard these shadow figures on the back house coming up towards the fence line. And from the little tiny alleyway that was coming up from the house and the fence where the shadow figures were, was what you would call the Hat Man. And I know that most people look at you and go, "You're nuts, you're crazy." But let me tell you, there's books out there on this subject matter. It's usually a person with a big rimmed hat, usually kind of like a long flowing cape in the back too. Kind of like Stephen King, the gunslinger. He almost looks, but all black, like totally. You can't make nothing out except that hat, the long cape, flowing cape, but always accompanied with shadow figures. And so master of some demons or negative entities, who knows? The Hat Man supposedly has a lot more energy, a lot more power, and a lot more intellect and intelligence, that he controls a bit more of these lower entities that are just roaming around, and they cling themselves to the Hat Man. So it's a very interesting story, and one that I witnessed, whether you want to believe it or not.
I do believe that. I do believe that, though.
It is one experience that has happened, and boy, my grandparents, man, when they passed, there was never any kind of paranormal activity in the family whatsoever.
Oh my gosh.
So
And
it was very strange. It's very
and
strange.
did you say that the activity followed them around no matter
Yes.
where they went,
Yep,
right?
that's the thing, and that's usually the case. Not always, but there are a lot of people who somehow their energy attracts this type of activity, spirit activity or paranormal activity, whatever. Heck, there are people even known to, well, you've got people who see dead people, I mean, there's people who are true psychics, true mediums, can talk to the other side. There are people who can open up. If you're in a vicinity of an area that has portals or energy that allows spirits to enter and exit an area easily, if that person is capable of allowing that, I mean, again, it's a deep subject matter. Do I know why my grandparents were? I mean, was it both of them? I think it was more so my grandmother for some reason that allowed that. She had a history kind of the Indian heritage. Her mother was Blackfoot Indian. There were kind of some, and with that comes historical facts of them doing rituals and summoning of some spirits for good reasons, for bad reasons. And I think maybe some of that was pushed along her genetic line, or so to speak. And and when she passed on, a lot of this, my grandfather went up to the attic and it was 90 degrees outside, and these things that were hanging up on a thing started moving, and it dropped like 40 degrees. We're up there shivering. It was just so much happened at this house that I could do a whole show on it. But anyways, let's get to another EVP maybe, huh? If you want to talk about it more.
That would be great. So, so there's one that I believe you're going to share. It's from Dale's. So it is the EVP. It's a Class A EVP that was taken in the janitor's room.
Is this clip two?
Yeah, that would be clip 2.
Okay.
It's going to show twice, so you have an opportunity to kind of listen to it. This one was gathered by Warren. I believe Warren had put this clip together. And just a little bit of background before you play it about Dale's. I've been there to investigate once with the team. This was not an investigation that I was on, though. This was the investigation before. But it's a historical building, and the staff has so many great stories about some of the paranormal activity in that building, like balls bouncing across the floor, things being moved. And this particular clip, I think you guys are really gonna love it. So if you wanted to play it, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play that. It's funny that everybody's, this channel, just you guys are the best. They're all just like still telling dad jokes, and we're talking. We could be talking like the deepest, darkest, subject matter, and they'll be telling dad jokes. So I love it. I love it, man. I love it. Correctly, First Nation people were more attuned to the spirits. Scotia Dragoon. Yes, Scotia, 100%. Yeah, with anyways, that's another story. Let's this clip, I'll play it twice, but you also have it played twice during the clip so that you can hear it louder at the end. So listen very carefully, you guys. This is a good one. Here we go.
Like I said, I feel like where we're hanging around down here, I don't feel like it's negative.
No, there's no malicious intentions in this room, I don't
like
feel.
a happy janitor. Like I said, I feel like where we're hanging around down here, I don't feel like it's negative.
No, there's no malicious intentions in this room, I don't
like
feel.
a happy janitor.
Okay, so I maybe I don't have to play that twice because I think you can totally 100% hear you take care there.
Yeah.
Both times. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It is like, and that's why I made sure that it kind of played twice, because the first time it just, you're not really expecting it, but the second time you can actually really hear it. And there was just the two investigators in the room at that time, and they picked up that EVP. Like it was just like it was there. So
Yeah.
I think that was pretty cool.
Hey, anytime you get and thanks, Dan, and goodbye. I'm so glad that we're boring you. So we're oh boy, you always get those guys, and the fact that I bring it to your attention makes it even funnier. I mean, Dan, you're a riot. You're a riot, bud. Thank you, Ginger, for catching
And
that.
I'm glad to see Calfart here,
Yes,
and
Calfart.
Artemis is here. So
Yep.
there's all kinds of like phenomenal people, and I expected
Oh,
a
of course.
couple of pokey people who are angry spirited, and that's fine, because you know what, this is paranormal, and you know what, that draws out all kinds of interesting sorts. So yeah.
Oh yeah, no, of course. That's what it's all about, sharing our stories and all this other, interesting stuff. And yes, Calfart, definitely glad you're here, and all the dad jokes are great. This is like Halloween scary. Oh, you know what? Hey, listen, we are going to be coming up. Chris W says that. It's like Halloween scary. But listen, we are going to have plenty of shows coming up, going up to Halloween. Spooky ghost stories. There'll be little. I'm going to surprise you. There's a lot of you guys will be in the Halloween spirit on this channel, starting now and going on into the future. So up to Halloween. So extra Halloween stuff. So, but yeah, no, that was definitely very interesting, and I take it a place that you guys have gone.
Thank you, Ginger.
What did Ginger say?
It was a very kind compliment.
She's always so classy, and I'm completely lacking in tact. Oh,
you are a classy lady. It's fine.
Listen, you're all good. Yes. Anyways, so another clip, or did you want to anything particularly special about that place that you got that EVP at?
There probably is, but I see we're already at the top of the hour. But if you wanted to play that clip for the Churro Museum, the one that's like 49 seconds long, or no, sorry. Oh, wait a minute.
Clip 3? Churro Museum.
Clip 3. Yeah, the 1 minute one. So this one is like, so this is the place that we are going to investigate tomorrow evening. The amount of activity that we experience at the Churro Museum is phenomenal. And, it's EVPs you can get, and this is where we actually collected the light source, the orb. But if you wanted to go ahead and play that, I think people would really like to see that.
Okay. Well, Blob City, thank you very much for the super chat. $2. Love your layout. You two are great. Thank you, Blob City. And I know a couple other people asked some questions here, but I'll try to get to it. I do want to play this clip. So here we go. This is a minute long, you said? So
It's about a minute long.
okay, so here we go. Playing clip.
So it's around me right now, in behind, where he said, oh, look. Okay. So as I said, my name is Warren. What is your name? No need to be shy. Is that wild, eh? Yeah, I feel it right now. It's just like,
Are you standing beside Warren right now?
yeah. You like the orange shirt? Yeah, my touching me right now, right in my arm. Oh man. Oh really?
Did you say Darcy?
He just did. He just said Darcy. No, that's Earl. That wasn't Darcy,
That's not
but I know you were
Darcy.
looking for Darcy. Man, you just walked up and it said with a question, Darcy.
Wow. So those were two very cool EVPs.
The amount of energy in that room that
Mm.
night, I have never experienced anything quite so intense. That was just a small portion of the much bigger event in that room. So that room was upstairs, and we weren't the only team to capture that kind of energy. Strong and clear EVPs. Just the sensation, like you could see Warren sitting there, like you could feel the temperature change in the room, and he had the feeling that he was being touched on that one side. It was so active, and one of the guests actually had her name called out. So in that EVP session, there was a young lady that was actually singing across the table from Warren, with some of the devices that I have here tonight. And in the spirit box, it actually called out her name, and it was crazy. Like, it was the
Yeah.
amount of energy was electric. It was a great
No,
session.
yeah, that's definitely. Trogdor says one day spirit
Mhm.
boxes won't be so gosh darn loud. Well,
I know.
that's the point, though, to push out as much white noise to get the sound, hopefully, of something, So I guess that's kind of the point. But no, when you experience that amount of energy in the room, when it comes to a paranormal experience, when you get an EVP, the hair standing on end, the temperature drop, everything just gets sucked out of the room. Again, I've had that happen a couple times in my life, and it's an experience that freaks you out. You're like, whoa, what is this? It's almost like a panic attack type situation where some people get real nauseous, and it just overwhelms people in many different ways because it hits all the senses.
Mhm.
So hey, it's Dave Buffet. What is going on? And Horror Mike, was there a train running? Good joke, Horror. But no, good to see you, Dave Buffet. And Shane,
Very
thank you
nice.
very much for the $5 euro. I don't know what that goes towards. Anyways, thank you very much. So much fun chat and video, really awesome. Yes, thanks Shane Gaming, appreciate it very much. But yeah, so do you feel running water like rivers hold and move spirits and entities? Derby Girl says. Well, I think we all know the history behind running water. I mean, running water alone creates energy, and the more energy you got working up in a particular place lends to more activity, so it's an easy catalyst for a spirit trying to manifest,
That's right.
trying to speak, trying to reach out. Water is just a great vessel for that. If it's running, it's an even stronger vessel for that. So I think you agree, Tracy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I also feel too, there are so many different kinds of people in the world too. Um, you have
The
people,
loud sound was the
the
spirit
SB7
box.
Spirit Hawks. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the spirit box horror mic. So if it was a serious question, it definitely was a spirit box, and that's it. So sorry to interrupt you, Tracy. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And I mean, some people are just more sensitive to picking up energy like that too. I mean, uh, and things are busy. Life is crazy. And sometimes you just have to, you know, get in tune with your surroundings and to be able to pick up on that energy. And it's hard. Some people, they're so busy, they don't have like the capacity to kind of feel that stuff. But if I believe everybody has the capability, they just have to be able to clear their mind and have some quiet space, right?
Yes, yes. Oh, can Tracy turn on the spirit box right now?
It's
Um,
it's very loud, and this microphone is super sensitive.
yeah,
I
it's a great idea, and Droon, it's one that I think we may do down the road coming up to Halloween here. And here, I think I may do some kind of EVP, and I'll give you the reasoning behind that. Some kind of EVP and spirit box kind of session down here to myself, just for like kind of a Halloween show, and I kind of want to test the waters on some things that we'll talk about in this location where I'm at. So it's coming, but I hear that. And I also, Tracy, I don't think probably wants to play it in
No.
her house. And I don't know how much you feel like, even playing it might bring something that you don't want around or something. So I get it, but hey, good one, Drew.
Yeah, you kind of have to like prepare yourself for it too. I know Derby Girl had asked a question about, how do you protect yourself after you've done something like this? And, you know, she has an excellent point because I carry different crystals with me. I also use sage, once I leave the investigation. I don't want to bring anything home. I cleanse my gear, and just I take those kind of precautions, and I know my team does as well.
Yeah.
um, you just never know. I've had one like experience
Mhm.
that I've shared here about Lewisburg, and that was kind of scary, and that's why you do have to take precautions, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Emily.
I think, yeah, Emily says, Tracy, we often smell cigarette smoke in our home, and no smoker has ever been in our home. And I do believe that that's because of residual energy or
Absolutely.
a residual spirit. A lot of times they will, uh, you would smell perfume that maybe they wore, but usually smells come along with um, a residual type haunt.
That's right.
So where somebody usually sees a woman in Victorian,
Hmm.
dress, and you would kind of smell the perfume, or stories that she always had roses on the outside, something like that along that line. So it's very interesting, definitely.
Yeah.
um, and what were we talking about? I was going to say something. What were you just talking about, Tracy?
We were talking about making sure that you kind of
Oh, yes.
creating safe
Protect yourself,
spaces.
ginger ash. Yes. Uh, I believe that it's somewhat a mental thing. If that sounds right, um, everybody has the ability to protect themselves. The people who get affected, whether you talk about possession or spirit activity, ramping up and becoming physical, like scratches or anything like that. Uh, I'm just saying, a lot of times it has those types of things are with people who are having issues, are their health is failing or low. They're having issues with certain things. They're having stress in their life. They're having anything that brings you down in life to a lower point that your energy just isn't there to be strong. Like when I say the mental thing, if you're strong enough, like you don't even have to be religious, but reciting the Lord's Prayer before an investigation, protect us from this place. Something as simple as that. Like Tracy said, sage. Sage is basically just something from the earth that is burnt, but it's the person who's doing it and burning it and saying whatever as they're going through the house. So there's many different feelings on that, protecting yourself when it comes to that kind of stuff. That's why so many people are scared of Ouija boards.
And that's it. And so, I mean, that's a great kind of like leadway into the last video clip that we have. It is, and I just want to say that it is a 49-second clip of a Ouija board session.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you had wanted to show the photograph of the Lewisburg Chapel, just so people can get an idea of where this session is being held at the time.
Okay.
It takes place inside the Fortress of Lewisburg. So there is a beautiful chapel, and it is there are bodies buried under the floorboards of this
Yeah, say it how it is.
place.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to be gentle, but there is, and it is a historic site. The Fortress of Lewisburg is very historic. It is a recreation, but it is on the actual land. But
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that the portion that the fortress, like this piece of the fortress, is there are portions that are original. So I believe the chapel might be. And if Earl was here, he would be able to totally correct me on that if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But it is. So if you wanted to just kind of show people the picture before we play the clip, just so they can see what it
Okay.
looks like.
Okay. And Kat, it's been a long time since I've seen you.
Oh,
It's definitely good to see you. She says Dino's collection in his man cave looks bigger. Oh, I'm changing things up, so you guys are going to see a whole lot of different new stuff. Hopefully tomorrow with me and Ted. Spooky stuff, and we're going to talk about the Pink Panther strikes again. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And first time seeing Tracy, so cool. So yes, hopefully everything's good with you, Kat. It's good to see you. And so yeah, let me get to the picture first. Man, why every time around this time when I'm doing a show, I'm just feel like belching like crazy. Anyway, whatever. So the picture, which one did you want me to show?
the Lewisburg Chapel.
The Lewisburg Chapel.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Is this the one?
That's the one.
Okay.
So this is inside of the Lewisburg Chapel. It is so beautiful. Well, the whole site is beautiful. It's very historic, but the chapel to me is the most beautiful place on the site. So if you see kind of where the left hand side, there's like the little bench or pew that is sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where this EVP session and the Ouija board session is taking place.
Okay.
Um, and on the far right hand side of this photograph, I believe that is where the bodies are buried, and they are prominent they were like like government officials, like very important people of the time, I believe, and possibly the family. So
Hmm.
there are confession boxes to the far left that you can't see in this picture, as well as like a baptismal chalice. That's probably not the right word, but yeah, that's what this place looks like during the light time hours. And there is an upstairs that
Okay.
people can look down over the railing and have a look and see what's going on. But that is where we had the EVP slash Ouija board session. And if you wanted to go ahead and play that 49 seconds, but again, it is a Ouija board session, just so everybody is aware.
Just so you know, it's a Ouija board session. So
No.
they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. But listen, I don't take that stance. A lot of people do. But the vehicle, the vessel, whatever. We can talk about that one night, maybe a whole Ouija board show. But anyways, uh, here's the clip at night of the Ouija board session of the
Yes.
daytime pic you just seen. So here we go.
Say goodbye and call it a night.
You'll take that as a sign they want to say goodbye?
I don't know what that was.
There you go, it goes back to red again.
So odd for all three of them writing messages.
All three of them are going off at the same time, and
If it
there's
was Darcy's phone, it wouldn't affect it way
two over there that are doing the same thing as this one here is.
Okay, so I do believe that was just really the EMF that was going off during
Yes.
the Ouija session, and you guys really didn't get anything going on the Ouija board, right? Because there were too many heavy hands on that planchette.
And that's it too. It was it was it. I didn't feel any movement. So Earl was the person in the middle, and then Laura was on the left, and I was on the right. And that was my very first time ever touching a Ouija board. Um, so that was my very first experience. But it it didn't really hardly move at all. Like, I know in the movies, people will see, like, the big swings, like, yes, no, whatever. It was not like that. But this thing was the video in total was about 15 minutes long, and there were a few voices coming through the EVP, like on the spirit box, a few voices in response to questions, but the energy is what was the crazy part. You could see all the EVPs, and this was at the tail end when we were trying to wrap up and get the board closed.
Okay.
And it was ramping up like crazy at one point, and you don't see it in this video, but it happens kind of like midway through. The EVP, it was going a little bit crazy. All of the EMF detectors, and everybody had one. Like, there were multiple, and they were all to the red,
Mhm.
and there was no outside interference. It was true energy. I could feel something on my right side, like touching my hair, and just kind of like a little bit of feeling on my right side. And it was kind of scary. Like, yeah, I felt nervous. It
Huh.
was uncomfortable. And, you know, a few minutes later, like, the energy ramped up again, and we did close the board. But it was one of those experiences. And, Earl can talk about this next time, but the board that we were using
Mhm.
is a board that has known bad energy, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
He has this board in his house. Now, he's an avid collector of the boards. He has many, but there is one board that does give him problems. And I remember I asked a question to Sandra, who was one of your guests, a couple of weeks or a month ago
Mhm.
about the board. And this is the particular board that I was talking about on, how to dispose of it or, get the energy off of it.
Yeah.
But it does have negative energy. And, Earl is usually given boards because people don't know what to do with them. And like I said, he's never had a problem, but this board in particular, kind of like bad mojo in his house.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's the one thing. Okay, let me say as open as I am with performing Ouija board sessions and using the Ouija board. I 100% understand that if there is a history that's
Mhm.
involved with a certain Ouija board, you do need to definitely be careful. I would
Yeah.
say, I would say 99% of the time Ouija boards are game boards. They're almost like toys for kids to play with. They have no effect on anything whatsoever. No good, no evil, no nothing. It's just a board. Okay. It's when you get into the serious side of things and you use it can be old or new. It's the intention of what you're using the
That's
Ouija
right.
board for that ends up making something evil or something that you shouldn't mess with.
Mhm.
Uh, and that comes along with the line of what we've talked about many times in the past about spirits, just the energy of an evil spirit, good spirit, whatever, can actually be part of an object. Okay, so negative energy, a tragic event, something that a car crash, you know what I mean? Something like
Right.
that. Smashed into telephone pole and hit part of the house or a mailbox or anything. All of that energy, that terrible, terrible energy, not just from the person dying, but the paramedics, the people crying around, all of that creates this super powerful energy that's negative that imprints itself on the objects around it.
That's right.
And that is the same thing that happens in certain instances with Ouija boards. So, again, if you have certain uh, Ouija boards that you're like, oh, that's an old one that I know what, then you take precautions. But if you're buying it off the shelf, you know what I mean, and
That's it.
you're just going to do it for the first time and have some fun, you should be okay. I mean, it's just, but it is very interesting that you mentioned that because yes, everything kind of takes up the tragic events of the past. And like I said before, one of these days we'll find out that energy, memory sticks around. Levels of that energy can go up, down, but is always there. Why that is, I don't know. But I mean, I could say, I mean, the entire universe is just everything's energy. You know what I mean?
It is.
Everything. So it just all makes sense. It just all makes sense. But
No, I
very,
do
very
too.
interesting. Yeah,
And
very
I
interesting.
mean, like, there's different things. I mean, it absorbs energy, that's for sure, good and bad energy.
Yep.
And like, I don't know about you or anybody else that's watching right now too. I mean, even if you go to a yard sale or a flea market and you're picking up like old stuff and you bring them home, right?
You never know. Yeah.
You don't know. And I mean, you could just be doing like an innocent, like, oh, hey, this is like this beautiful little tea mug or coffee mug. But, the history that's behind that, who had it before, what kind of energy did they have? What kind of memories are left within whatever it is that you purchased, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you just, you have to be careful sometimes. And that's
Oh
the thing. It's energy and energy is everywhere.
yeah.
So,
Chris W says you can cleanse a board.
mhm.
Um, Well, there's a debate with that too. I kind of I've got some pretty big stances on a lot of things. You know what I mean? Cleansing a Ouija board, okay. I mean, it's possible. I think you definitely can if you got the right people doing it. Um, do I think just can you really get rid of energy from an object? Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I think the energy is somewhat permanent with certain objects. Again, it depends on the degree of what happened with said object. You know what I mean? But
Right.
not to this, say that what you said, Chris W, isn't true. But I kind of have a little bit of a different stance on that. But yeah, I don't know. So far, nothing weird, and we buy lots of old stuff.
I was
So
curious about you guys because I know that you do a lot of like thrift shopping. So I was
hey,
wondering if you guys had any stories.
you know what? James or Janet, I don't know which one you. I know I missed, but there's certain people. It does not mean that everybody is going to pick up on paranormal experiences. It depends on what's going on in your life. If you're even, one of those people who pick up on energy easily. There are plenty of empaths. Like I said, I'm an empath, a giver and a taker of energy. And lots of times it ain't good. Sometimes it can be good, but a lot of times it ain't, because you're picking up the energy of what feels bad from a person. They call these energy,
Vampires.
yes, and that's similar to what I've got. A long history, long story. I've told a lot of it many times, but you just may not be one that is attuned to that, right, Tracy? I mean, 90% of the people don't, or just ignore what happens when something strange or paranormal may happen in your life, or you go, that was weird. Think about how many times you've said that in your life, right? How many times have you said, that was weird? Did you see that? Or did you hear that? And you just dismiss it. So nothing's happened in your life, but maybe it has. You just dismissed it as a noise. Light
random occurrence.
Yeah. So it's different for everybody. So see. Go ahead, Tracy.
No, I was just going to say there's been lots of great comments, and
I know
people are sharing their stories.
Oh yeah, Dave Bluefay, I think, said something. Let me go find it. He says, I remember purchasing a book secondhand with several others, and this particular one had bad mojo. And as soon as I got rid of that one, things improved. I wish I knew what kind of book it was, Dave. That's the other thing, because negative energy around a book, again, anything can pick up good energy, bad energy, whatever. But I'd be curious on what book it was that. Type it in if you can. What book? What subject matter? What kind of was it? Because a lot of times you can get the history or get a sense of what may have been done to the book, or just depending on the title, and sometimes not. So I'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, I'd be curious as well.
Yeah.
The Mummy and the Monkey, if you back up just a little bit, I don't know if you can, but they had another little comment in there. I didn't quite catch it. Yes.
Not saying it can't happen, but try to go hunting with a good vibe, with respect when shopping estate sales where we know the person passed. Well, again, that doesn't mean there's any negative energy or anything there. I mean, if somebody simply, which happens most of the time, people pass on with no tragic event whatsoever. Passing on is not a negative thing to a lot of people. It's taking the next step on your journey to wherever it is we go. So especially estate sales, where the mother or the father has passed on and everything is just sitting there and laying, could have just passed on from old age. So it doesn't mean there's negative energy or bad energy, or a meteor came through the ceiling and estate sale next week. Here we go. But I get what you're saying, though. But most of the time, a good percentage of the time, it's definitely just somebody passing on, and that's probably why it may seem creepy going there, but it's not creepy. It's just life ends every single second of the day. So Dave Plouffe says at the Late Late Horror Show, it was actually The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty.
Oh my gosh. That was like an amazing book. It was a fantastic movie, but
Listen,
I love it.
listen. Okay, Dave. So there you go. You answered my question. Of course, just the fact that it's The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. If you end up reading it, it's even going to be worse. Okay, because let me tell you, I read the book. As scary as the movie is, sitting there and reading the book and listening to even all the other little things that go on in the book is so darn scary. It's not even funny. But can I see somebody reading The Exorcist and maybe whoever did wanted to do some kind of let's say Ouija board experience, or they were into the occult or something like that, or because when you get somebody who's reading The Exorcist, it's somebody who loves horror. It's somebody who loves the supernatural, the paranormal, the darker side of things, right? I mean,
That's right.
yeah. So you have a higher chance of that book being in the wrong person's hands than Harry Potter. You know what I mean?
That's right. But an excellent book. I need to go
yeah.
buy it again. I love that book so much.
Oh yeah, the Harry Potter books are great. Most of the movies are pretty good too. I mean, they did a great job with that series. But
It beats the first one.
exactly.
Right.
Did I miss anything else there? Dave says, when I sell homes of deceased individuals, many times I am in the home alone, and when I first enter, greet the old owners. I yell out, "Hello, Alice," or "Hello, Ruben." Okay, Dave. Oh boy. Good stuff. But yeah, no, this is, I think we got through all the videos, all the EVPs, the pictures. I think most of them we got through.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, and I've been trying to read everybody's, and I'll go back and read everybody's comments, a little bit later. Just I think it's amazing. I'm so glad everybody showed up here tonight, and
Sorry about
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Earl, hopefully he can come back. He has so many wonderful stories to share, and he's like it's an awesome team, and I'm so looking forward to joining them for an investigation tomorrow night at the Churro Museum.
Oh, Tracy froze up. She'll come back though. But yeah, she's going on an investigation tomorrow. Oh, Tracy, you really froze up. So well, we're at the bottom of the hour anyways. But I was going to let her get the last word. Let's see. Personally, I would stay away from someone's grimoire or shadow book unless you plan on showing the book respect. 100% agree, Derby Girl. Yes. Again, I'm not making things, sound like you shouldn't take precautions, because everybody should take precautions. You know what I mean? But Tracy, what? Usually she'll figure to come back. She paranormal. Something paranormal happened. First rate paranormal show. Thank you, Earl, Tracy, and Dino. Nova Scotia sounds fantastic. Thank you, Dino. Everybody. Okay. Yep. Everybody's saying goodbye. We will get ready for the overnight show. Tonight is Johnny Dollar, Bob Bailey, all night long tonight. So enjoy that for sure. Good old Johnny Dollar. And most of them are the 5-part episodes. So you guys should enjoy that. I am going to be redoing some of the set. I already started with the trick or treat thing over there. I've got a new skull down in front and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I love that mug right down there in the front. And I've got some other stuff over here. I should grab it real quick to show you what I got. Here we go. This will be on set tomorrow. It is the Beetlejuice sign. So here you go. Let me light it up. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. This I don't think I'm going to light it up though, because it might take up too much Beetlejuice, and the arrow is right there. So we got the Beetlejuice sign from Spirit Halloween. Yeah, that don't look too bad if it's lit up, right? It might distract from our show, but yeah, maybe I won't light it up. I don't know, but it's gonna go up on the wall. It's gonna go right up there. Beetlejuice. Yeah, Spirit Halloween just opened up and got a couple things, so it's going to be fun. Halloween, it's going to be great. So thank you all very much for joining us tonight. Again, sorry about the audio quality at the beginning, but we'll have Earl back on again with Tracy at some point, and he can tell us his stories. Always love the paranormal. And with that said, thank you guys all for being here. Thank everybody. Thank Horror Junkie for gifting the memberships, and Vincent for the super chat, and Blob City, I believe, the super chat. So thank you all who did this. And yeah, this was perfect. I think the show turned out great. And I will see you. Have never seen Beetlejuice. Dave Bouvet, no. Oh, so many movies that people have not seen. I'm so surprised with. It's so. It is what it is, right? But anyways, thank you guys very much, and much love. And I will see you on the flip side at the Old Time Radio stream, and tomorrow with me and Ted.